Mi5 community. Happy Tuesday once again. I hope it's been a wonderful day for you today. And today, it's going to be a little bit different. Normally, we've been having a guest on. We've been interviewing them, seeing what kind of type of person they are. But as you may know, Bryan and I were just spending the weekend in the beautiful land of Puerto Rico, the coastal island in the Atlantic Ocean. Sorry, I was just laughing really hard. I'm like a little out of breath right now. But yes, we were in Puerto Rico, and wow, let me tell you, it was transformational. It was beautiful. It was relaxing. It was exciting. It was a lot of different things, and that's what we're here to tell you about today. As you can see on the bottom, our banner says Puerto Rico recap. That is a fun thing to say. Puerto Rico recap. Say that 10 times fast. And today, we are going to be interviewing each other, Bryan and I, on our experience in Puerto Rico. So with that, I want you to get ready to Mi5 your life. Here we go. All righty. Well,
what is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
We are back from Puerto Rico. As Andrew just mentioned, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently tonight or today, depending on what type of environment you're in, what coast you're on. It's actually really weird, Andrew, because we are now not in the flesh when we were just in the flesh for the last 4 days, right? I mean,
crazy.
Wow. And what was even funnier is, and we told this story over and over and over again, Andrew and I, prior to this past weekend in Puerto Rico, had only ever met each other one time before. And that was for 10 minutes. One time. 10 minutes crazy. In 2021 of November. And since that one time, we could feel the energy, we could feel the synergy, and we understood that we had a connection. We stayed in touch. We grabbed each other's numbers, and one thing led to another. We got into some trading things together, and the beautiful and amazing community of Mi5 blossomed, of course, with all of our other mastermind members and partners and core founders. So tonight, as Andrew mentioned, we're going to do a little different. We're going to do an interview with each other. And what better host to interview Andrew about his experiences in his recent days than the person that spent the recent days with him? So we're going to ask each other questions about our journey, and through these questions that are very, I guess you could say, self-informed, we have inside information on the events that happened. They should be a really great picture for you guys to understand. Number one, kind of what went down in Puerto Rico. But number two, some of the really important key lessons that were learned throughout, the trip and throughout the journey on Andrew's end and on my end. So without further ado, Andrew, I'm going to start us off here. We had flown out to Puerto Rico, not knowing what to expect. And the real reason we didn't know what to expect is we were going to a conference that was unlike most conferences that we go to.
True.
And a lot of times you go to conferences, there's a certain agenda. Tell me a little bit about, kind of your feelings in the way that you approached going into this event, because it wasn't your traditional, like, oh, I'm going to an MLM conference or a network marketing conference. How are you feeling going into the trip this weekend?
Right. Well, I feel like this is a very, very good question especially with the past few months of my life that I've kind of like been, all the events that I've been partaking in, because actually this was my third major event with lots and lots of people, something that I had to travel to multiple days in the last 4 months. And dude, I mean, I knew that it was going to be extremely unique just even beforehand because of the community that I've already been integrated in with GIN, Global Information Network. Dude, having a success coach, like a mentor and everything like that, to kind of guide you through this community that's unlike any other kind of helped me to be a little bit more warm towards this, what was going to go down. You know, I wasn't like, oh, are we going to drink the goat's blood when we're there? Like, what's going to happen? You know, I've never been to this club before. Who are they? Like, I kind of had an idea. But, you know, to answer your question, going there and feeling the energy of these people, you know, and these are not just like, yeah, they're all entrepreneurs, most of them, right? But what I'm talking about when I'm saying these highly vibrational people is that all of these people, they know about and they practice law of attraction. They
Now, back
know
up
and
real
they
quick.
apply.
What is the Global Information Network? For those that
Yes.
may be tuning in tonight, you know, give us a little context here of what type of conference it was that we're going to and how that, you know, you approach that.
Yeah. So the Global Information Network is a society of individuals that, well, let me actually start with how it kind of started. The Global Information Network is a community of individuals that was started by someone named Kevin Trudeau. And if you look up Kevin Trudeau, you know, you're going to see that this guy has been touted as a scammer. He's been touted as a con artist all across the internet. And that is simply because the things that he teaches are things that you know, they kind of reveal a lot of things that the government may not want you to know about. And in that sense, you know, we're able to learn about how to think better, eat better, you know, become better people, and break past limiting beliefs so much more than what the average motivational speaker might do, because they're not just giving you motivational speeches, they're giving you tools, tactics, and strategies to maneuver through this life. And it's really, really amazing, because I'm sure a lot of you know that we're highly into we practice and we know about and apply law of attraction in our daily lives, everyone in Mi5. And it is a really big part of how this even came to be. And you know, going somewhere where that's like just common knowledge and everyone's doing it, it's crazy,
And that's
because
all the event is about.
literally that's all it's about. They don't even want you really to talk about your business. It's not so much about like, hey man, what do you do, like right when you meet somebody. It's like, how did you discover this, you know, like what has been your journey like, you know, of, you know, what kind of amazing magical experiences have you come across that helped you to unlock your powers, literally. And so yeah, I mean, just going there and feeling the energy of the speakers, and also the people that were there, it was unlike anything that I've ever experienced.
Now, we met at the airport. We coordinated our flights to arrive at the same time, literally like within 5 minutes. I'm on the ground. I'm on the ground. We're both on the ground at the same time. It took a while to find out how to navigate the airport. Neither of us had been to Puerto Rico before. You know, I approach Andrew. It's the loudest grand rising the airport has ever received.
That's right.
It was a grand rising indeed. Now, tell us, you know, about the journey to the resort and sort of what that experience was like. Because I think one of the cool parts about Gin, and we can both agree, and I'd love to hear your insight on it, is that it's not just an event at random Marriott down in Orlando or Tampa, but they're a little bit more peculiar in terms of the environment. So give us a little peek about that.
Yeah. So, you know, first of all, going to the airport and seeing Bryan for like the second time ever in person was like trippy to me. I was like, yo, like I only see this guy on Zoom. Like I only see this guy on Zoom and hear him on the phone. Like it was amazing being able to actually be with Bryan in the flesh. And it was like kind of like your brain has to get used to the fact like this is actual face. Like I could touch your face right now, bro. Like this is kind of funny. Like, but nah, man. I mean, going there and you know, okay, so being on Puerto Rico, like the actual island, right? It's very humid. I'm in California. It's dry heat. You know, I'm not used. I was like, I went outside and I was instantly like covered with water. I was like, what the heck is going on? And driving to the event, you know, at first I'm kind of talking to the guy that we're also driving with about like, you know, gin and everything and how he ended up finding it. But, you know, I kind of started to neglect at first actually just looking at the streets and at the environment, because like, we're in another country. We're literally in a different country. And it was something that I've never really done. I haven't really been out of the country except for like in Canada briefly. And it was amazing being able to experience different cultures, different environments that were like very unfamiliar to me. And pulling up to the resort, which, by the way, this resort is iconic. It is the El Conquistador Resort in beautiful on the east coast of Puerto Rico in Fajardo, that the Fajardo, the eastern side of the island. And they've shot movies at this thing. Celebrities stay there, and they have this amazing water park. It's literally like built off the side of this mountain. It's freaking crazy. And we go there, we're pulling up. First thing we see is a dead iguana on the side of the road. Like the roadkill that's in Puerto Rico is much different than what we got here. They've got giant dead lizards, and we have like deers and stuff, like deer and raccoons and rodents, and they just have giant lizards sitting on the side of the road dead. And I was like, oh, all right. And Bryan is actually the first person to point it out. I was like, yo. So it was just really, I was like, we are in a tropical island right now. Like, that is crazy. And wow, the opulence of this place took my breath away instantly. I've never been to an architectural structure built like this, where it's so like grand. Like, you walk in, you instantly feel like a millionaire. You instantly feel like you belong. I mean, well, I felt like I belonged there. It was freaking amazing. And everyone was just so welcoming. Everyone was so welcoming. Now, Bryan, I'm not too sure I understand what you meant by like why they, asking me about why they plan to put it in Puerto Rico. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, you covered it. Is
Oh
the
yeah, the energy.
was all about the environment, and it was about the the surroundings, right? It's not just a random resort. We've all been. I mean, if you've ever been to conferences, yeah, sure. Sometimes they're in fun places like Las Vegas or really fun big resorts. But this, I think it was very intentional on the environment and the scenery that was at place. The events that we get to go to, and we're really excited because we're going to a really fun event in 3 months for Gin in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Actually in May, so that's maybe 4 months away. But nevertheless, yeah, the environment was an important element of it. Every single piece of this experience was so special. So that's what I meant, and you covered it perfectly, Andrew. Now, you mentioned the people, and listen, we've all been to networking events, or if you haven't, let us share. It's usually you walk in, right? Everybody's kind of sitting down, they're taking notes. You're networking, and as Andrew mentioned, it's usually business involved, right? Let's talk about my entrepreneurship. Let's talk about my business. Maybe there's a product that's for sale at the event, and that product is the highlight of the event. Maybe there's a service they want you to sign up for. Maybe there's something. This event doesn't have that, and I think that was really special. But in addition, the people behave much differently. Tell us about the people of this event and what type of, I guess, embracement we received, unlike any other, within our lives in the event space.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to preface with the fact that in Global Information Network, the only thing that you are receiving is information. It says it in the name, Global Information Network, and that's literally it. It's a network of information, and it's a global thing. There's people all around the world that participate in this. And something like that doesn't just attract everybody. You might like get in and you're like, oh, all I get is like trainings. Like, I don't have anything to make money with. Okay, like, this is stupid. I'm out. And so the type of people that Gin attracts are a different breed, simply put. And everyone is extremely welcoming, because the primary like vibe, is love. It's love and compassion and empathy, embracement. Just like, everyone is we literally, the gratitude is such a large part of this community that every single time someone got up on stage, they'd be like, and give them a thunderous round of applause. And you just sit there and you clap and you scream like, yeah, all right, yeah. And you just keep going and you keep going and keep going. And you're like, are we going to stop? Nope. You just keep going until they tell you to stop. Until tells you like, hey, settle down now, like you just keep going. And sometimes even when they tell you that, everyone just keeps going anyways, because when you're doing that in a room full of people that really mean it, everyone is so excited to be there. Everyone is so excited to get these nuggets from these people, and everyone kind of knows, that they've been integrated into the information before, because there's certain things that you must know before really diving into this community. And when you know those things, and you know that everyone around you is of that same knowledge, then you're just like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Like,
so Andrew, you mentioned gratitude. I want you to tell us, of course, we all know the word gratitude. It's been popping up more and more, throughout culture. I feel like, some of these buzzwords, manifestation, law of attraction, gratitude, they pop up more and more, but maybe not so much in the right context. Tell me, how you feel about gratitude walking away from this event in a new light. I'm sure gratitude means something a little bit more after this weekend than it ever has before to you. And let us know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, of course, gratitude before is just really expressing the fact that you are thankful for everything in your life, or small aspects, or, big things like, oh my God, I just, got this amazing raise, or whatever it may be. However, gratitude encircles a much larger aspect of love, actually, because when you feel gratitude, you're not just feeling like thankful. It's not like thankful isn't, I guess, like because really feelings are the chemicals that are in our body. And so when we feel that grateful, we are releasing chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin. Like, we literally feel good because we're feeling grateful. And kind of knowing more intricate aspects of showing gratitude after the event. When you show gratitude, you are literally opening yourself up to receive more things to be grateful for. And to me, that's just so amazing, because it's not only like an incentive to be like, oh my God, like, I want to feel good right now. What can I be grateful for? But it's like, when now that when you're showing gratitude, you're opening yourself up to whatever may be out there for you to receive it. And it's truly very, very comforting to know that there is something that everyone can do to not only give to other people by showing gratitude, but give back to themselves by showing love. And that's like, it's so simple, yet it's so like profound.
Absolutely. And, I want to be mindful of our time here. We're going to try to keep it a little over an hour, if that. But talk to me and tell us about how gratitude this weekend actually turned into a magical experience. Because I know we had probably about 30 different magical experiences that we could highlight. We're not going to stay here all night and highlight all 30 of them, but just set an example. Tell us one example from this weekend where we witnessed the power of gratitude.
Let me think about this for a second, because just like you said, there is like 30 different examples. Yeah. Okay. So there was one part where, Bryan had mentioned that he wanted to host a morning meditation service, or like a early bird meditation session, right? And I was like, that's a great idea, bro. Like, let's freaking do it. Let's invite people. Let's spread the word. Let's let people know that we're going to be doing this, and that we're going to have, a cool time in the morning, because they would do morning workouts every morning before the session. So we're like, okay, so let's plan it before the session. Perfect. And, we set this intention, and later that night we go to this dinner, where we had literally shown up 30 minutes early to reserve the table for a group of friends that ended up getting invited to another table with their coaches. And we were just like, okay, yep, they're going to go do it with their coaches. Now we've got this open table, we're like, okay, we just like turn down like a bunch of people because we were like, hey, yeah, it's reserved. Sorry, guys.
Right in the
And
front.
yeah, like right in the front of the event. And we're like, dang, I kind of feel bad. But you know what? It ended up working out perfectly, as I'm about to explain, because the next people that come kind of like wander over to us and be like, hey, can I sit with you guys? Were some very, very, they were young, amazing, highly vibrational people that, and that was Pierre, his girlfriend, and then our friend Nick as well. And we're just talking, we're just like, chatting it up and getting to know each other and sharing our experiences with being integrated in the gym. And then the topic comes up that Pierre is actually a Reiki master, which is a type of spiritual practice. And he was mentioning that he's really good at doing guided meditations. And so instantly Bryan's like, hey, we're actually doing a morning meditation thing. Like, do you want to come? And he's like, oh, like I'll guide your meditation for you. And instantly we're just like, dude, perfect, literally perfect. And even going there the next morning to have a professional guide our meditation was just so incredible. Like we set this intention with the with wanting to be able to give people an amazing experience for the event and hosting it ourselves. And then because of that, we were able to receive more blessings from just situational manifestation and meeting someone that would even further amplify the awesomeness of this experience.
Wow.
And it was awesome, dude. It was so awesome. Even doing the meditation, I was feeling extreme gratitude because he was kind of like guiding us into it. He took me there, guys. He took me to the third dimension. Like literally,
It was magical.
It was magical for sure. He was a great guided meditation guy. I don't know what to call that. I mean, a guided meditator. I don't know.
Meditation guide, I guess. Is
That's,
term?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Beautiful. Awesome. So kind of transitioning now a little bit later on in the event. We're coming up in 27 minutes. So we make our way through the event. The event's coming to an end. What is one of your biggest key takeaways from the event itself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question, man, because there was just so much knowledge and wisdom dropped. And, it's almost, it might seem like it'd be hard to pick, but the two things that stood out to me the most, they're right on the forefront of my thoughts because I've already thought about this quite a bit. The first thing would be knowing when to pour your energy into somebody and when to not, because some people are just not ready to receive the full magnitude of who you are and like what you do and everything like that. There's no point in pouring yourself into somebody who's not ready to receive it. And honestly, I found that I do that all the time with these networking events. I'll go in, I'll meet people, and I'll just get as many numbers as I can. And I will like just try and give as much value as I can right away. And they're not even like, they don't see my value. They don't see my value. They don't see like that I'm just trying to be generous or a good person to them. And they just think that like, what does this guy want out of me? They're not ready to receive it. I haven't tested them first for their energy. I haven't seen where they're at and if they're ready to receive what I'm putting down for them. And so that like just seeing it in examples of people there, them literally doing it to me and also like kind of meditating on that was huge and will literally permanently change the way that I like move about life forever. And then the other thing is owning yourself, owning who you are completely to your core, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Because, and that kind of like almost ties into what I just, what I was just finished saying is like, when to pour your energy into somebody. What if your energy is like, it may seem like weird at sometimes, but that's just who you are. Well, instead of modifying who you are, literally own it, because there's going to be somebody that actually sees that you're being authentic and genuine, and they're going to like you even more for that. And also, when you're not authentic and genuine, then your subconscious knows that, and it's hard to be confident after that. Because if you can't thank you, Trey. That caught me hell off guard. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that, man. And honestly, like, without some of your guidance, then there's certain things that have completely changed how I do things now, because of just watching how you move. But yeah, owning who you are always, and not feeling inferior when you come across someone who kind of like matches your energy, but they do it a little bit better. I know everyone kind of feels like that sometimes. Like you're trying to be good at something, and then you meet someone that's even better at it than you, and you feel like, damn, bro, like, why can't I just be like them? And you have to just own who you are, even though it might be uncomfortable. And it's the only way to truly be authentic to yourself. Because if you can't be authentic with yourself, you don't have a guarantee that other people will be authentic with you. So you have to be that person for yourself. So that is my key takeaway.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So the event comes to an end, but the adventure does not.
That's
so
right.
After the event, Andrew and I had a little bit of time to still be able to enjoy the island and be able to sort of go on an adventure. Andrew, I'd love for you to kind of, we had two sections to this. We had the section where we were in, the eastern part of Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
And then we transitioned over to voyaging into San Juan, an old San Juan, to get ready to take off for our flights. Tell us a little bit about, first, one of the most, I guess you could say, your favorite part of our time adventuring through the eastern part of Puerto Rico.
Cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, I want you to kind of explain the San Juan journey, because I feel
We'll
like
get
you'll
to the
nail
San
that.
Juan journey after. Yeah, I mean, we'll start east and we'll work west, right?
Oh no, I mean, I have my parts, but I think that you'll be able to fully encompass the journey
Oh,
much
absolutely.
better. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll talk about my favorite part of the Fajardo. Fajardo. I am not.
Fajardo, yeah. I think it's
I don't
Fajardo.
speak Spanish, guys.
No
So
hablo español.
that's right. I had to say that a couple times on this trip. I have never actually said that and meant it. Like, it's always been a joke, but like, people would start talking to me in Spanish. I'd be like, "No habla español." I'm sorry. Like, I don't speak it. So yeah, in Fajardo, and I actually found this out from one of our Uber drivers. It's actually like low crime. It's pretty chill. It's like a suburby kind of area, not so much like a city. It's more of like a village. And we actually went to eat at this really awesome food place. It was like a seafood restaurant, so good. It was just straight fire. I remember Eric was on the phone with Bryan, and if he's on here right now, then he would have like kind of like remembered this, because Bryan sent a picture of his tuna. But anyways, that's right. And I'm sitting there eating, and I'm just like, dude, I literally started feeling something like in my core, like in my solar plexus. It was like freaking glowing, dude. I was like, I have a strong feeling that we are going to come across somebody from the event that we know, like tonight. We're going to just like find somebody. And I was like, I can't get that out of my head. Like, we're going to for sure. And then Bryan's like, well, like, we're going to, now that I've felt it, like 100%. And so I was like, yep, guaranteed. And I literally just forgot about it after that. Completely forgot about it, because we were just like doing so much stuff. And later that night, and this was actually being live streamed, we had gone into the jungle, and we were just like having a blast, literally like walking through the jungle. Bryan is like destroying his shoes. Like, we didn't really know what to expect. And so we're walking on this beach, and we find a path, and we start walking on that path. And then we see this guy, and he's like, hey, the beach isn't too far down there. And he looks at Bryan's shoes, like, hey, your shoes aren't going to make it, bro. And I'm like, what? Like, we're just hiking. And
they
like,
actually look pretty good right now.
they do. You didn't destroy them. So I'm just like, okay, what? And then we keep walking, and then I understood what this guy meant, because as we continue forward on the path, as we're like, kind of like going, there's literally giant pools of like tadpoles and stuff that you have to walk through, like mud pools with like frogs and fish in them. And we're like, oh, like, okay, like I guess you have to walk through this now. And so we like do it, and Bryan does it. And then I think, when did you take your shoes off, bro? Like
On the way back, I just never put my shoes on.
Yeah. So then we go and we get to the beach and we have this amazing meditation session. And that's actually, oh yeah, I want to kind of like go over this. While we were doing an open eye meditation, staring at the horizon, and like standing in the ocean. It's shallow, and we're just like staring at the horizon, meditating. And that's actually when I came across my realization of standing, owning who you are, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Because I was literally standing in the ocean, and my legs started to hurt while I was thinking about this. I was like, standing for who you are always. I was like meditating on that kind of like idea, and my legs really started to hurt because I was just literally standing completely still on uneven ground. It was like kind of uncomfortable. And then I was like, oh my God. I was like, I have to stand for who I am, no matter how much the pain is, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much like discomfort that I may feel, while owning who I am and not like trying to be like somebody else, like that. I was like, it was I was like, dude, I haven't had many experiences like that meditating, where something from the external world, like something that I'm like feeling, like shifts how I'm thinking about whatever I'm meditating on. So that was like crazy. And that's literally how I got to the conclusion of that kind of realization. But anyways, we're walking back. We like get ready and everything. Oh, actually, there's something before that. That was probably my favorite part. I have not felt the urge or to not do something that I knew would help me grow for a long time. I'm the type of person that will literally do pretty much anything, especially if I know that it's going to be uncomfortable and that I'm going to be a better person after it. But this time, Bryan got me.
I got you.
Bryan got me. Something happened where I found myself resisting. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. That would be weird. And that was because I said, like, yeah, dude, we got to start hiking back because I got to go, bro. Like, I got to go to the bathroom. Number 2, it's bad. I'm about to, like we're prairie dogging over here. I got to get out. Let's go, dude. And so like I'm trying to like, get hurried up and leave. And he's like, dude, just go in the ocean. And I'm like, nah, what? I was like, that feels weird. I don't want to do that. like I don't know, man. And so then he's like, dude, just do it. Like it's gonna be amazing. It's like you literally just like wash yourself off in the ocean, you're fine. And he's like, dude, if you do it, I will do it too. And so we like go 50 feet the other way. And then we do it, and then we meet back, and we're like, did you do it? And we're like, yep, did you do it? Yep. All right. Yeah. And then I was like, dude, thanks for helping me do that. It was liberating. It was totally liberating. I was like, that was amazing. I'm literally going to do that all the time. As soon as I see the ocean, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh my gosh. Maybe not at a crowded beach with the family members,
I mean, shoot, man, that's just another barrier to break past.
Yeah, and a sex offender citation.
You have to own who you are, remember? No matter how uncomfortable.
All right.
Oh my God. Okay. And then walking back, this dude, Bryan, is like, yeah, I don't need shoes, bro. I'm just going to like walk in the jungle with bare feet. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But like later, kind of thinking about the fact that like there could be scorpions and like poisonous centipedes. And this dude's just like walking like mud caked between his toenails or his toes. And we're just like, yeah, dude. Bryan, you're a freaking badass, dude. Straight up. I would not do that. And anyways, as we're hiking back, remember, I had said that I felt like we were going to find somebody. As we're hiking back, we like bump into 2 guys. We're like, oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. I didn't mean to get in your way. And then we're like,
Well, only
oh,
two
oh my
people that we
god,
bumped
oh
into
my
the whole
god,
time.
like, yeah, we were like, dude, holy crap, like, it was our friend Igor and Dennis from the event, and they were hiking in the jungle at like 9 o'clock at night, the same time as us, same path, and there's like a bunch of different paths you can take, and we're just like, oh my god, dude, and they were like, what's up, guys? Like, they weren't even surprised at all. They were probably manifesting it too. Like, I don't even know. And so these guys were camping in the jungle the entire time of the event. They were like not trying to pay for the cost of the resort. So they would like hike from the resort and from the
5 miles away.
yeah, 5 miles every single day walking to the event. And they were there early too, like for the workout and stuff. They were straight top G's for that one. I was like, oh my
Slovenia in the house. They're from Slovenia. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
what a culture. Yeah.
Yeah, it was impressive, and it was amazing. And also they taught us how to do this thing that feels amazing actually. And if you ever meet up with me in person, I'm gonna make you do this with me. Where they were like, we need to laugh. We need to laugh. And I'm like, okay, like I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, yeah. So and then he gets out his phone, he's like, all right, I'm gonna laugh, then you're gonna laugh, then he's gonna laugh, then he's gonna laugh. And then it's just gonna get like progressively louder and stronger. And so we're like, okay. And so he takes out his phone and just like starts recording and just starts laughing. He's like, and then, and then like even after like 3 seconds of doing that, you really start laughing hard. Like everyone just starts randomly laughing, and you're taking a video of it. And if you do it for 15 seconds, it's like 15 seconds of medicine. That's what they're saying. It's actually something that they teach in the club, and like it felt amazing. And then we did it with our friends later in the journey, but amazing stuff. So that was my favorite part. Just that whole like hike and everything, going to the beach, going into the ocean, and hiking back and meeting them. Just, I will never forget that. It'll be a story for the rest of my life, for real.
Absolutely. Now, on a closing note, just for conscious time's sake, what this will be the last question. What was your favorite part, and what are you, Andrew Golden, gonna make sure that you apply in your day-to-day life moving forward after this event?
Taking action immediately once I make a decision. That's like, I'm already doing that. Anything that I decide to do, I'm doing at least some action for it immediately, as fast as I can, because then you actually get the ball rolling instead of like being like, okay, I'll do that tomorrow, because then like you're not so inspired right then. Like if you don't get that momentum moving, it's not the same. You're like, if you wait the next day or 2 days after that, you're gonna be like, wait, why was I going to do that again? You're like, I'm not even sure why I was like so hyped to do that, but it could have been like so profound and like something that's awesome. And that's happened to me so many times where I'll like come up with some awesome thing to do, and then I'll wait too long to do it, past 24 or 48 hours. And then like I either don't do it or I start and it's half-assed. Like I'm not like, I don't do it with the same vigor that I would have done if I had just like started taking action immediately. And if I had, like thinking about that, now that I'm like, literally, I can't think differently. I will never be able to think the same as I did before the event. Like it's completely changed the way that I think about like taking action. Then this year is especially going to be freaking insane. If I think about it, if you took action every single time you made a decision, how far ahead would you be in life? That's crazy. Like I'm gonna probably do more this year than I have in the last 4 years. It's gonna be insane. So yeah, man, that's gotta be it.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, what an amazing recap of our awesome journey. We didn't get into the San Juan and Old San Juan part, but we'll save that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, dude, I think we can both say we really truly had a blessed, and a lot of gratitude is in our hearts walking away from this trip. And we're gonna take a quick 1-minute break and put a timer on here, and we are gonna return and reverse and switch musical chairs. So we'll see you in a minute. Talk soon. All right, we're back to church music.
That's right. Welcome
Thank
back,
you.
guys. Welcome. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
Yes, it's my turn to interrogate Bryan about Puerto Rico now. That's right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, my first question to you, man, is, on this trip, we say Grand Rising so much all the time, constantly. It's a part of who we are, and it's a part of our businesses. And the trip started with Grand Rising. It literally the coolest parts of the trip started taking place after that first Grand Rising in the airport. I think that Grand Rising has really transformed meaning. There's more to it in the definition of it. And I kind of want you to, how do you feel that Grand Rising has changed in its definition while we were away?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, right, we are so conscious of the words that we use. So Grand Rising is just the starting point, I think, of Mi5, of us, of our members, of our core members. It was just the starting point of us making sure that we were conscious of what words we were using. I remember at the beginning and early stages of the Mi5 movement, some of our members and some of our core leaders and some of our mastermind people would say good morning. And we kind of all nixed that when we adopted Grand Rising, right? Like Grand Rising kind of came into fruition. It became part of who we were. And for those that are a part of our community, they know like Grand Rising Financial, and we're always Grand Rising. So when we arrived at the airport and I walk around the corner and I see this massive tower, Andrew Golden. Andrew's so tall, guys. I'm 5'11", but he's so tall. I love him to death for it. He can help reach things on the top shelf if you need
That's
it.
Right. That's right.
But we hear a Grand Rising, and it instantly lit up the event. It instantly lit up the airport, I should say. And all throughout the event, we made sure that we were Grand Rising every day. When we met somebody, when we walked through the hallways, when we were cheering for somebody going up on stage, we were Grand Rising every step of the way. And it's almost like Grand Rising has kind of evolved, not just from another way to say good morning, but also like into almost like a term like aloha, right? A term that's like interchangeable, right? So when you see somebody, instead of saying hello, you can be like Grand Rising. Instead of us introing with like, hey, good evening, everybody, we can say Grand Rising, right? We use Grand Rising in so many different contexts. And I think that it plugged in so much, and it definitely set the tone for the start of our journey. Grand Rising.
Absolutely, man. It's literally like saying hello to somebody now. It's not just good morning. It's almost just like hello. It could be, good. It's so many different things. It's almost like saying I love you at this point, like literally.
Yeah.
But okay. So Grand Rising, that was a huge common theme throughout the event. And while we were at the event, you asked me a lot about the members. However, we were able to watch some very distinguished gentlemen in business and in life, some very wise old guys. But like I say that in the most respectful manner. Some of these speakers, you can tell they've lived such a rich life and that they've had so much experience in not only like living life, but having helped other people live their life to the fullest extent. What did you feel from some of these guys? Like, what was like the kind of examples that you took away from some of these extremely wise guys?
Yeah, and not just guys, but women also, right?
Oh, yeah.
We had some amazing men and women speakers at the event. And unlike traditional events where sometimes there's a common theme, or a common product, like we mentioned before, the product of the Global Information Network is information. We're there to receive information. So when you're hearing the wisdom of Dr. Tom, Dr. Ted, Blaine, and some of our speakers that got up on stage and blessed us with their words, you really understand and can grasp their experiences, not only as an individual and not only their wisdom within age, because as we know, age is just a number, as Andrew says, of how many days you've been on the earth. And some of the wisdom that I've learned from Andrew at the age of 21 I've learned far more from Andrew in some cases than I have from 60-year-old men. But the wisdom that these gentlemen in particular shared at this event, these are, you have to, let me set the setting. These are experts at manifestation, law of attraction, and tuning their frequency to achieving the result they want within the physical world through tapping into source energy and through actually recognizing how to do some of these key principles that create such beautiful magic. And not only through the magic and the wisdom that they shared and sort of the stories and the journey that they share, were we able to learn how they navigated certain situations within their life and applied that magic. But we also were feeling the energy beam out of them while they were speaking. And as Andrew mentioned earlier, we were beaming out energy out of ourselves as we were recognizing them. We were applauding them and we were giving them praise for sharing the wisdom, for coming onto the stage, for coming off of the stage. And it truly was just infusing the entire conference center. Guys, it was like being inside of the Energizer Bunny's drum as he was beating it. Like, it was vibrating at such a high frequency that all of us, like, I kid you not, you could feel your skin buzzing, you could feel your skin tingling, and you could just feel such warmth and gratitude coming out of your heart from these speakers and from each and every person at that event, because you're not going to pay to be a part of the Global Information Network to receive information unless you are truly seeking and willing to have that studious sort of mentality of receiving and learning and applying the information in your everyday life. You're just not going to. I mean, it's just not a thing. And then this is something that, you know, a lot of people can't wrap their head around. Like, why would I pay for it when I could go to YouTube and search some videos on there or read an article or just go buy a book? By the way, guys, we're not trying to get you to sign up for the Global Information Network. There's no referral or MLM or anything. We're just talking about like how we're so blessed to be members. I want to just throw that out there just in case you guys think this is going to like end with like, hey, join the Global No, not at all. we're just part of a really fun club and we love to be a part of it. But I just want to throw that. But yeah, go ahead, Andrew. On to the next question, man.
Yeah. So I should have asked this before, but I'm going to ask it now just because like this is kind of now coming to the forefront of what I'm thinking about here while you're speaking. You know, I haven't known you for a super long time. However, I do know you well enough to know that you have been in this way of thinking. You've had this attitude towards life for, you've said, a decade. I mean, I don't know if it's longer than that, but you said decades, right? And I'm like, okay, being that kind of person and knowing about this stuff and it existing, what's it like having this whole other curtain unveiled of just like all of these new tools and information? Like, what's that like, man?
No, that's a really great question. So what you're referring to is feeling good all the time and feeling the energy of recognizing that optimism or looking at failures as lessons and, you know, taking opportunities and turning them into something magical or seeing the best in every situation isn't a trait and a characteristic that a lot of people possess. And it's something that I didn't possess when I was very young, but it's something that was instilled at me at a very young age from my mother, who's on here tonight. So thanks, Mom. A little shout out, but also, you know, something that, you know, myself, you know, as I started to transform in my teenager years, I think it was a big time for this for me, is where I started to recognize that it wasn't worth sitting in those emotions and letting those emotions define that moment. Because just because you have a bad moment doesn't mean you have to have a bad day. Just because you have a bad morning doesn't mean you have to have a bad afternoon. Just because you have a bad week doesn't mean you have to have a bad month. And just because you have a bad month doesn't mean you have to have a bad year. So I learned really, you know, how to train my brain from a very young age to do this and to sort of recognize that when you see a difficult situation come up within your life, when you're facing a difficult challenge, when you're facing a sad challenge, something that makes you angry, something that makes you mad, when you experience a loss, when you experience a death, when you experience anything, and just recognizing that that's just part of the process and part of the journey. And you can embrace it because you can learn and grow from it. I actually, it's a funny story because I thought something was wrong with me. I actually thought that I had something wrong in recent times too. Probably like 2 or 3 years ago, within the last 2 or 3 years, I thought, it's not natural for somebody to feel good all the time. It's not natural for somebody to get over things so quickly or to look at the bright side all the time. It's not natural for somebody to, they just lost their job, but they're still smiling, because that's happened to me before. I've lost my job and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was so amped still about like what was to come. Oh, this means I get to go look for a new job. And I've been wanting to explore and find new interesting concepts to be a part of. Like every single time something happened, I just would transition it. So to answer your question, when I discovered that one of the core principles of the Global Information Network and one of the core principles of our studies within the Global Information Network is feeling good all the time, and that everybody in this community literally lives by that principle, like that is the foundation. It was like absolutely mind-blowing to just think that, oh my gosh, like something isn't wrong with me. Like this is how you're supposed to navigate. And the alignment, I think, is huge. Because, being off on my own, you tend to question, yourself, like you just were talking about earlier, being your authentic self and standing for who you are. Right. Because like society tells us that we should, it's okay to have, bad days. Like you can treat, this with, different remedies or pharmaceuticals or whatever the case may be, or therapy. That's okay. It's good actually if you have something. And I'm not saying that pharmaceuticals or therapy are bad. I'm just saying like it's kind of a culture where it's accepted for you to not feel good all the time, and then there's solutions that they provide for you to feel good all the time. But the solutions are more like Novocaine, and they just numb you into feeling good. They don't actually at your core make you feel good. And this is something that was instilled in me, like I said, and something that I've just kind of held close to my heart is the absolute genuine feeling of feeling good coming from within. And now to think that I have a whole community of people that think and feel the same exact way, as well as my fellow Mi5 partners, has just truly been, it's been an eye-opening experience the last 3 or 4 months since I've been discovered, or since I discovered the Global Information Network, and since I joined membership within the community, and especially after the event.
Yeah, no, agreed, man. And, on that topic of feeling good all the time, one of the byproducts of doing that is that you open yourself to a state where you're able to manifest anything that you are thinking about. Because when you're feeling good, you have a good vibration, strong energy. That energy is being beamed out of you like just rays of sunshine, literally. And that was a huge theme all throughout our event, man, all throughout the event, all throughout our trip in general. Like it's crazy. Actually, I didn't tell you about one of the craziest manifestations that happened even after we parted at the airport. I didn't get to tell you.
Well,
but,
we'll have to catch
up. Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah. I could even say it on, it would actually be totally appropriate to say on here at some point. But anyways, what were some of, I know I talked about the event a lot, but from your perspective, what were some of the like obvious conscious manifestations that took place at the event?
Oh, I mean, we had so many, right?
So many.
You mentioned the meditation. I mean, here's the thing. We were constantly, and I mean constantly, right?
Constantly.
Receiving manifestation, like constant. And I mean, some people like to think, manifestation is either a buzzword, right? Manifest it, right? Or they think that manifestation is a coincidence, right? Oh, there's just coincidences. Like sometimes things happen because that's just the law of averages, and sometimes things kind of collide, and it's not manifestation. It's just, it happened to work out that way. No, no. There was clear manifestations. I mean, from the gentleman that we met in the middle of the jungle, the only people we saw on a random, there's hundreds of trails, to the one you mentioned, to another one, right? We were literally walking down the hallway and we were going to find food. It was really late at night, right? And we go down the monorail and, we end up in a dark marina, ocean water. We're like, I don't know if we're supposed to be there. There's a Spanish sign. We're like, does this say do not trespass? We don't know. We're walking around. We're trying to find food. It's late at night. It's like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. And we couldn't find food. We were hungry because the event didn't have food the first night. And we, really, really wanted food. So we're walking back, from clearly recognizing that there's nothing open at this hour and there's nowhere to. And we bump into these two beautiful souls, Nick and Manda. And they're like, we've got snacks at our room. You want some snacks? Boom.
Boom.
Like, boom. I mean, I know you may think that, like, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence. Of course, people would host you and no, they offered the snacks before we said anything about food. They're like, oh, would you guys like to come, enjoy and hang out back at our, thing? Cause we were just going to walk right back up to the hotel room and call it a night. We spend 2 hours,
easily
a solid 2 hours within their hotel room. We're doing stretches. We're doing, really intense conversations. This is where the testing of energy came into play that Andrew was speaking about earlier, and some of those lessons. And we leave and we go back up the monorail. And again, this is a giant resort. It's in the side of a mountain. There's all these different sections. There's a building on the top of the mountain. There's 2 buildings down below the mountain. There's multiple buildings. There's a giant golf course, the gated grounds. It had to have been 100 acres of land. It was just a lot of land. And we're walking down one of the hallways and we pass by our roommate, the gentleman that we're staying with, and Andrew's coach, at the exact time in an exact hallway at the exact place as we were just about to get ready to go back to the room. There's another manifestation. These just happened over and over and over again. We were speaking to a woman named Taylor, and we had no idea whatsoever that Taylor was actually in the same group of people as Pierre, who guided our meditation. So when the guided meditation came that morning and we were all, and Pierre's coming out of the resort, coming over to guided meditation, and we had found out about an amazing beach to go visit. And I had found out about that from 2 different people. The reason I found out about from 2 different people is because those 2 different people were together, but they weren't sitting together at the table, but they actually ended up popping in there all the way to the end of the event where we were in the middle of San Juan, giant city. And, we'll talk about this more, I'm sure, in a future question, but we run into in the middle of a city a day after the event, giant city, thousands of people, that were passing throughout this big footprint of San Juan. And we run into 2 of the people that we grew closest to, Piero and Ignis. Right. And it's like to be able to find or to stumble into these gentlemen in the middle of the city is just absolutely, incredible. There had to be 1,000 people at the event, maybe a little bit less. But we only interacted with probably a solid 25, 30 people. And to think that we stumbled into 6 of them out in the jungle and in the city and in random places, that is absolutely manifestation. There's no other. Especially since you were thinking of it, and especially since we were beaming that frequency, because remember, the frequency you beam out finds its way back to you, and we were all vibrating that same frequency.
Absolutely, man. It was truly, truly magical. And this happens to me every day in my daily life constantly. I'm always and I don't even have the time to talk about it to everyone. And when we're on our leadership calls, I don't even have the time to tell you, bro. A bunch of stuff is constantly happening to me that I'm consciously manifesting. It happens so much now that and I'm sure you heard me say it at the event a bunch. I'm not even surprised. I'm literally this is normal. This is 100%. This is supposed to happen like this because I'm thinking like this.
Oh,
it
yeah.
will always be like that. Constantly and forever.
Let me share one more manifestation. Andrew and I are walking with our luggage and you need a taxi to get
Yeah.
to San Juan. It's an hour away. I call the nearest taxi, a couple near taxi companies. None of them have taxis. I finally find one that has taxis. They're like, yeah, we've got taxis. However, they're all busy right now, and it's going to be an hour or 2 hours before we get you a taxi. So we're like, okay, that's fine. I guess we'll just kind of walk in the direction of, San Juan, and maybe we'll make some progress. And once the taxi driver is free, we'll text him and we'll know where we're at, and then we'll make our way to San Juan. We had never seen a taxi in the eastern half of Fajardo because there wasn't too many taxis out there at all, and Uber was non-existent out there. It was existent in San Juan, but not out there because it's a small little village. So I just don't think there's enough work out there for taxis or Uber to make money. Like point blank, they have a couple of different offices that you can call to order a couple taxis, but they're going to do it like on demand. Andrew and I are walking down the street. It's 1,000,000 degrees out. We're hot. We're rubbing suntan lotion all over our faces. And we're like, let's just go stop in the shade over there for a second. And I kid you not, a taxi pulls by, rolls down the window. You guys need a ride? Our little buddy Danny. He's like, what's going on, guys? Yeah, pop on it. And then we're like, yeah, we're trying to go all the way to San Juan, though. Will you drive us there? It's like, yeah, pop on in. One of the most amazing gentlemen ever. Give us so many wisdom and knowledge and nuggets. But get this. The second that he pulls up and picks us up, I get a text message from the taxi company that told us 2 hours. And they're like, I'm sorry, we're going to have to cancel. We're too busy today. We don't have any drivers. So we just didn't have transportation, but we manifested a transportation vehicle right in the smack dab center of the heat and during our travels.
Literally, that was one of the, that was like, okay, yeah, we're doing this, man. And one thing that I want to kind of mention too is like the energy I felt from Danny right when he opened up his window. He just felt so kind. Like I knew instantly. I was like, yep, we're getting in with this guy 100%. No worries at all. And also I want to mention that like, yeah, while we were rubbing suntan lotion on, I missed these 2 spots on my forehead. And now they're the only part on my face that's sunburned. Just these corners of my head. It's so
hang on, gentlemen and ladies. There's more. Danny drives us all the way to the airport in San Juan because we needed to put our luggage somewhere before our flights. And we are calling around all these luggage places, but they close at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And our flights, Andrew's flight's late night at like 11 o'clock. Mine's later than that. So we're trying to think like, well, what the heck do we do? We've got like 10 hours and we have nowhere to put our luggage. So Danny's like, listen, I'll take you to the airport. You can put the luggage there. So we bring our luggage into the airport and we go over to the luggage place, and the luggage place in the airport closes at 6 p.m. too. So we're like, crap, what the heck are we going to do? Like we all the luggage places close at 6 p.m. I know a hack. You can go to a hotel and drop off your luggage there. If you're ever in an area where there's a bunch of hotels and you just kind of walk in, you can drop your luggage at a hotel. Most of the time they don't check if you even had a room there. They'll just put it in the back room and give you a ticket. I've done this at Vegas and various vacations that I've gone on. But the crazy part about it is we're walking back. We're like, all right, well, guess we got to go get another taxi. Guess we got to go get another taxi and find our way into the city and figure out a place to put our luggage. My guess was to go to a hotel. As we're walking back to the entrance, we stopped to get some coffee. And Danny, our taxi driver, gives us a call to check in on us and make sure everything went well with dropping off our luggage. How many times in your life has a taxi driver or an Uber driver given you a call and been like, hey, just checking in and make sure you guys are all right? Like, what? And sure enough, we're like, yeah, the luggage place, they close at 6 p.m. So Danny says, I'm still here. I haven't left yet. He was talking to one of his other taxi friends. He's like, come on out. I'll give you a ride. And he drives us for free to one of the nearest hotels and drops us off. I mean, guys, manifestation after manifestation after manifestation of just magic blossoming within our lives every step of this trip. It was so magical. It really was just out of this world.
Incredible experience with him. And one thing also, I'm gonna tell another manifestation story because this one's kind of crazy too. When we were walking from the resort in Fajardo to so one other crazy thing is our roommate Bashir, we like needed a place to stay. We needed a place where like I don't really know what we're gonna do. We're gonna just like find somewhere to stay. I don't know yet, you know. And like right when the event ends, Bashir comes up to us, our roommate, and he goes, "Hey, so I'm just gonna give you the hotel that I got from that I bought like a week ago. I'm just gonna give it to you guys because I found a place to stay here at the resort." And we're like, "Oh, perfect, awesome, like thanks, bro." And so we had the notion that Bashir needed to come with us to help us check into this hotel, but really we ended up not needing that at all. However, we ended up doing it, and Bashir, we're walking to this like weird Airbnb hotel thing. I don't know really what it was, but it was nice. It was cool, and it's freaking hot. Brian's got his like giant suitcase with like another duffel bag attached to that. He's on the phone closing deals with Eric, and he's just like, we're walking in the busy streets of Puerto Rico. I'm like taking videos of all this while it's happening because it's just crazy all around us, and we're just like these obviously tourists. Like I'm wearing a suit. Brian had to like strip down and get his shorts, like take off his pants because he had shorts on, like in the middle of the freaking like on the corner of the street. And like it was just like obviously these are Americans just like doing their thing, and so we ended up walking 20 minutes past our destination, 20 minutes past where we needed to go, and we're like, oh my gosh, dude. And like for 2 seconds we were like, this sucks, we're like, yeah, this is not so good now. And instantly I'm just like, wait, guys, like something, we are responsible for vibrating this into our experience. Everything in our life is a manifestation. No matter what the situation is, we're constantly vibrating the outcome of our experience. And so I was like, we need to just take a step back and think, reflect, why did this happen? What did we vibrate to make this happen, right? And so then we're like, oh my God, yeah, like what if this is a really good thing that's happening right now? And then Bashir mentions the fact like we literally did ask to go travel the streets of Puerto Rico, and here we are being forced to travel the streets of Puerto Rico. So it's not so bad. And then randomly, this guy that's at the Airbnb, he calls me and he's like, hey, did you make it to the place? Like, are you coming? Like, do you have a ride? Like, what's going on? And we're like, no, we have to walk because we ended up going, we went to the wrong place, so we're walking back. And he's like, he sounds like frustrated. He's like, okay, I'm going to have my daughter pick you up. Just stop where you are. I'm going to have her pick you up. Just look for the white BMW. And so like, we're sweating in our suits. It's like freaking 80 degrees out and like so done. We're just like, man, okay. Like, yeah, we kind of asked for this, but I'm like ready to be there. And literally, we get picked up in a very nice white BMW,
air
conditioned, driven to the thing. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I've never met an Airbnb driver Airbnb that came and picked you up.
Literally.
Shuttle service.
Literally, like it was perfect. And Bashir then just asked like, hey, can you give me a ride back to the resort? Yup. Boom. Everything worked out perfectly. So yeah. Okay, so that was our journey through Fajardo. Now, there was so many things in the event. We could literally be talking for a whole nother hour about all the different manifestations. However, I want to kind of transition into our journey after the event in San Juan, which I think is the biggest city. It's like the most popular city, most populated city on Puerto Rico. And that's where we decided to go. It's about an hour away from the village that we were at, and we had a whole day to spend there. After sleeping at this Airbnb, we had the whole day of Monday and like kind of into the night to journey, just figure out what's this city about. They actually we learned from Danny that they just finished this last weekend celebrating 500 years of history. That weekend, that's awesome, super awesome. So there's a lot of culture in this place. There's a lot of history. You can tell the streets are very old. It's like this stone road that's like super like old and polished from all of like the cars driving on it, and it's really cool looking. Lots of ports and cruise ships, and just it is epic. You need to go try it someday, guys. Anyways, Bryan, I'm going to let you kind of go into our journey because, man, it was crazy. It
It
was,
was wild.
yeah.
It was wild. So, one of the things that Andrew and I really wanted to do was integrate our experience, from the event. And if you guys don't know what the term integration means, it's such an important element of a lot of things that you should do in life. If you have an experience or if you have, a profound moment within your life, integration is one of the most critical tools in terms of growth. So Andrew and I had made the decision ahead of time that we were going to spend the day on Monday to integrate the materials that we had learned at Gin, integrate what we had learned at the conference, and reflect upon that such highly vibrational experience that we just had experienced. So we made our way to the city, and we're walking, through the streets of Old San Juan, and we're seeing everybody taking down all the festival stuff, and we're kind of deciding, what is it that we're going to do? And we didn't really have an agenda. We didn't really know where our journeys were going to lead us. But I'm going to break down for you the magic that happened. So we find these scooters. And if you guys have been in any cities, the scooters that you walk up to, you get an app and you just press a button and you can rent them. And you leave them wherever you want. So we find a couple scooters. We pop on the scooters. We start whizzing around in Old San Juan. Oh my gosh, so much fun. So much fun. Just whizzing around the streets, the ocean line. There's old ruins of like these forts where these cannons are, and there's this giant hill, and it goes up to the ruins, and there's a fence, and you can look into the ruins and see. And Andrew and I just sat up on that hill because when you turned around, you could see out for miles and miles and miles into the Atlantic Ocean.
And then with the other way, you could see like the city from a very high point.
Really cool. And the government building, the giant government mansion. It was just a gorgeous scenery. And we were blessed because we were the only people up there. So we're sitting up there on the top of the hill, and we are playing some amazing frequency music, and we're meditating, and we're integrating. We spent a solid, probably an hour up there, Andrew, right? Yeah. Just sitting there, easily an hour, just sitting with ourselves, sitting with gratitude, sitting with our thoughts, and really truly integrating. This is where a lot of, if tonight sounds like a magical, story, all the things that Andrew shared, all the things I've shared thus far, it truly is. And as you can see, it's made an impact within our lives. And I hope it makes some impact within you guys' lives, because we like to share our journeys to be able to allow others to kind of see some of the lessons that we've experienced and grown from, and hopefully provide value for those that hang out. So for everyone that's popped in tonight, thank you so much. But we're integrating. And sure enough, the time comes, we stand up and we're walking down the hill, and there's this little carved out portion of the bush. There's bushes all along to the left of us. And there's this little carved out portion with like the trees and the bushes chopped down. And we go over to it, and it's just the most extraordinary, like the most extraordinary view ever. The waves are crashing down. There's this little cove, and it's all eroded. And it's like, it's a postcard. It's a movie. It's the most beautiful scenery ever. So we stood there for about 5-10 minutes and just truly soaked it in. And I said, Andrew, we are going down in that cove, and we're going for a swim, man. We're going down that cove for a swim. It was just
so beautiful.
It was gorgeous. Absolutely amazing. And so we need to find a way to get down there, because it's like 400 feet down. We're like towering up above it. We're like, how the heck do we get down there? So we are walking through, and we're going through, down along the coast. Well, I was like, let's just follow the coast. And we see a big iguana, a giant iguana. We hung out with him for a little bit. He was so cool. He was just hanging out there, enjoying the view. We continue to go along, and we finally find stairs that lead our way down to the beach. And we start walking down to the beach, and we run into a gentleman, Dante. And this guy didn't have to stop and say hello to us. We said hello to him, but something stopped him and made him turn around. And I think honestly, it's something that he needed, because he turned around and he said, "Hey, where are you guys from?" You know, he walked past us at first, and it would appear like he was just going to keep on going, but something turned him around that day, and or yesterday rather, and sure enough, we ended up diving deeply into his soul, and really peeling back the layers of his life. Here's a gentleman that makes really good money, over six figures. He's in the tech industry, but he's not happy within his job. Well, Mi5, we're all here. Like, you guys know
That's right. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. So, like, we see this prime individual, but the thing about it is, guys, is that he was calcified a little bit. His soul was calcified because he was a 34-year-old gentleman, just like myself, and he thought that he just needed to find the right job, and that's what he felt like was missing within his life. So I kept challenging him. I'm like, "Yeah, man, but like, what is it that you want to do? Like, what do you want to be in life?" And he just like, "Oh, well, I hope I can find it." I kept on asking him. And he kept on giving me answers that weren't the real answer. So I kept on peeling back and poking. I'm like, "No, but like, what do you want to do? What is your dream? What is your passion? What is your goal?" And it was actually a really, really magical experience, because you could just tell after we parted ways with this gentleman that, we exchanged numbers. We're going to probably connect in, a couple days here or something. That his perspective of like thinking that he had to just he's like, "Oh, well, maybe Google will come into my area of the country and I can work in the Google offices, and that will be a great place to grow old and retire because they give you good work-life balance and they've got a meditation room." But it's just like, no, right? Like, here at Mi5, as you guys know, we inspire people to live their brilliance through becoming the best versions of themselves, equipping you guys with the tools to create that financial education and financial time freedom for yourselves, and ultimately free ourselves financially to go off and do whatever it is we're passionate about, and be wherever we want to be, and go wherever we want to go, eat whatever we want to eat, and live however we want to live. And that's something that we shared with him, and he had no idea that type of thing even existed. He didn't even have a clue that was possible. And it was really cool to kind of make that, that genuine impact. And something, like I said, drew him to us. Myself and Andrew and him just kind of stood with our ankles in the water, looking out at the ocean, having this really deep, intense conversation. So we needed to still make our way over to our cove, our watering cove. So we make our way down. We're walking through the rocks, and nobody's there. And we're like, "Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful cove all to ourselves." And I want you next to me, man. Don't you put me all by myself. No, but yeah,
Miss me already, do you?
yeah. So, we're walking over to the cove, and we're going through, and it's gorgeous, luscious waters. The waves are crashing down. And we're walking through the cove, and I see this rocky structure, and I'm like, "Andrew, let's go up over and see the waves."
Let me quickly paint some of the picture, guys. This is like blue and green water, like bright blue. This gorgeous. It was insane. I just want you to like kind of see and imagine like this pool, like this real kind of a large pool, about 50 feet across and 20 feet wide, blue water, green water, and like this like cliff right next to us. That's the scene that we're with. Yeah.
Yeah, so we hop up on this rock thing, and there's this big pool, and I'm like, "Andrew, come on up." And it sucks to climb up this stuff because your feet hurt, and we're coming up it, and we go up into it. And sure enough, Andrew comes up and he stands next to me, and it was really gorgeous. It was very, very beautiful. But in front of us was a landmine, a landmine filled pool of sea urchins. Thousands of sea urchins.
He was about to walk right into it.
All sea urchins of all kinds. So I think we figured out why no one was at this beach, because we were at Sea Urchin Death Beach. But Andrew's like, "Whoa, bro, no more steps. Let's go back."
I was like, no, you guys have no idea. Let me kind of like just say it from my perspective too. because like this is like this just so painful to climb on, like spiky like rock thing, and I'm like, okay, like I'm tough, bro. Like I'm gonna climb up this. If he did it, I can do it too, right? You know, it's fine. I'll do it. And I'm like, God, ow, ow, okay, my foot. Gosh, dang it. Okay, all right, I'm up here. And he's like, come on, bro, come receive them. Sorry, it's so funny. He's like, come on, come receive this blessing.
Oh my God. All right, guys. All right.
He's like, come on, bro, come on. It's so beautiful. And as soon as I'm like a Boy Scout, I'm experienced with freaking nature and stuff. And like I used to hang out in Fort Bragg and like go to these pools, and like you got to watch out for certain creatures. And like instantly we get up there and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, this is dangerous. Like, we need to go right now. Like, we're in the one area that's not completely covered with these death sea urchins. And I'm just like,
there's so many sea urchins. But hey, you know what? It was such a fun adrenaline rushed experience, and Andrew's like, all right, let's turn back, and by all means
right now.
by all means we turned back. We left, we got out of there, but it was such a gorgeous cove, and you know, to face death in the form of sea urchin snow, you don't always die, but you know, it just the fun behind it was really cool. It was really cool to experience that. Definitely something I'll remember for the rest of my life. So Andrew and I, you know, we continue, we go back up to our scooters, and guys, there's like 4 miles of roads where you're able to just whiz with scooters. So we're whizzing down. It's going up over bridges, and oh my goodness, I wish I had a GoPro. Like, we need a GoPro next time we go back to San Juan, because this was just the most extraordinary experience to kind of whiz through these streets, up against the coastline, looking out to the ocean. It was beautiful. It was a gorgeous day. The weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. We got some beautiful slushies, coconut and passion fruit. And yeah, lots of just gratitude and soaking, and again, integrating our experiences and thoughts. We make our way back to the city, and you know, we're driving and going, and I'm going right, and I hit this pothole on my scooter. I hit this pothole on my scooter. I flew like 15 feet in the air. Like 15 feet in the air, like up in the air, like I'm up, and I literally turned into a ninja, and somehow I rolled on the pavement, and I sprung back up to my feet,
literally
and landed straight on my thing, and then I like was perfectly fine, and I went over and grabbed my scooter, and I don't have a single scratch on me today. Like I don't, like, my hands like were like on the ground. I like used I rolled with my hands and like pushed myself up. It was ridiculous, and like, again, perfect. I think I've got like one little mark maybe right there, but you know, it was insane. It was like out of a James Bond movie or something, but you know, so then we at that point in time, I think we had enough scooters for the day. And so we you know, we get some water, and we run into Ignis and Piero, as we mentioned earlier, 2 gentlemen from the conference, from Denmark and from Italy. Amazing gentlemen from, you know, the country of Europe, and just their culture and all of their, you know, their differences in the culture of American culture versus European culture was so extraordinary to hear about. We walked the streets with them for about an hour, ended up nestling into a beautiful little bar/restaurant, enjoying some delicious, delicate cuisine, and just spending hours, you know, kind of integrating together what we had experienced throughout the event, and what we had experienced on our journeys, and talking, you know, about ourselves, and you know, things that come from their home countries. We planned on meeting up this June in Europe. I think we're going to be heading to Italy to hang out with them for a week. So that's going to be really fun. We're going to start to plan that. And then in May, we've got the event up in Boston for the Global Information Network in my neck of the woods. And it's funny because Andrew and I, I live in the area, so I haven't gotten a hotel yet for the area, but we're going to be at that event. And Andrew, hasn't gotten a hotel yet. And we're talking to these gentlemen. We're like, yeah, we should go to Italy. And we invited them to Italy with us because we wanted a tour guide, because Piero is from Italy. So he knows the whole country of Italy from top to bottom. He's going to give us an amazing tour. And because we invited them there, remember we talked about one of the key lessons that we received during this event was the more you give, the more you get. And the more you give with intention, and the more gratitude that you give, and the more love that you pour, and the more frequency and energy that you beam out of yourself, the more comes back in exchange. So we're sitting here chatting and talking, and they're like, yeah, we booked a 4-person room at the hotel in Boston because it was the same price as a 2-person room. So if you guys want, you guys can just stay with us for the event in May. And this is like a really nice hotel in Boston, guys. They just went through I think $1 billion renovation or something ridiculous.
100 million. Yeah.
$100 million renovation. That's pretty intense type of renovation. I've been there before. It's right in the heart of Boston. It's gorgeous. I haven't seen it since the renovation, so I'm excited, and we're really excited to be spending the event in May there. But yeah, we just got invited to join their room for free. They're like, oh yeah, come on in. We got 4 spots, So that was the end of our journey, is kind of just sitting there, breaking bread together, soaking it in. We go out and we catch a Uber to the airport, and we wrapped up our lovely, lovely evening, as well as just such a gorgeous day of integration and exploration and near-death experiences. but no, with all seriousness, such a wild, true experience that was just out of this world.
Yeah, it was amazing. Literally, Piero, he's Italian, and Italians, this is something I didn't know, are big into food. I should have known. I feel like
man. I'm Italian and I love food. You didn't
literally. I feel like I have known that, but it just was made very apparent while we were with him. And this man all of a sudden starts talking about, how you can taste things better when you exhale. And I was like, hold on a second. I was like, are you teaching me how to taste better right now? That's amazing. What the heck? And so I'm just learning all this different stuff from him and Ignas, who is Latvian, and they both speak really good English. Anyways, it was awesome just learning all this different things that they know about, and how their schooling works in those countries too.
A lot of wisdom shared, for sure.
Yeah, one thing that I want to highlight that's so cool that I learned just really quick is that in Europe, where they're from, when you go to school for business, you don't just learn about school business. You actually, they put you in a business that you can get your hands dirty, which is so cool. We don't do that in America. We don't get that kind of experience. I almost feel like it's for a reason, so that they can kind of keep you below the competition. But anyways, yeah, super cool with those guys. Now, Bryan, we're coming up here on the half-hour mark, and I still have one very important question to ask you, and that is, what is your key takeaways from this event? What are the things that have been at the forefront of your thoughts since we've left, and what are you going to do to integrate them into your life?
That's a really great question. I spent the majority of my night last night, all the way into today, actually journaling on the event, so that I could really integrate one last time, in addition to all the integration we did yesterday. I think one of the biggest key takeaways for the event is energy and frequency seen through a different lens, and how to truly navigate and to truly dictate how, where, when, and at what intensity you use that energy and that frequency within you. Similar to yourself, like you said, we are highly vibrational beings at our core. So by all means, we're vibrating at our highest potential at all times. But being able to recognize when you're in close proximity with that similar energy and when you are not, it is something that you could really feel the difference from the people at the event versus the people in the outside world. You know, just even from being at the event around all the people there and then transitioning into San Juan and passing by people in the streets or sitting by people in the restaurants or different Uber drivers and stuff that we had, you have a better awareness of actually being able to tell. And I know it sounds weird, but like there is an actual like feeling. And it's something that you can feel if you pay close enough attention. And one of the biggest things that I think, you know, that helps you feel this energy, and this is a quote that, you know, I think I've heard you say before, Andrew, and I've heard several people hear it, is that you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them proportionately. And when you take the time to recognize that proportionate ratio, and you really do ask more questions to the person, and you approach every single person that you come in contact with that proportionate ratio, when you recognize that you should not be the one who is talking the most, you should be receiving the most. And you do this by prompting people with questions. You do this by prompting people with curiosity and genuine curiosity, not just sitting there asking something for the sake of asking it because you're just waiting for the chance for you to be able to talk about what you want to talk about next. But asking it with genuine curiosity, with genuine love, with genuine compassion, with genuine emotion, and receiving the vibration that's coming from the conversation, because conversation is vibration. And this is one of the biggest things that I did at the event that I've done before. You know, it's one of the success stories of Mi5 is we've asked people what value they provide for the universe and had millions of Zooms all over the world. Like that's part of the success. But doing it and having a pulse on the frequency and the vibration while doing it is a completely different experience. And when you do this, you truly do genuinely, and you can get a scan of a person's frequency and vibration. And then you can determine how long, how much, and how intense you want to proceed moving forward within that conversation with that individual. And you're able to either you're really able to task prioritize, you know, the interactions that you had, because we would come across lower vibration frequencied individuals, not only at the event, but in public. And I don't know if you noticed this, Andrew, but like some of the people, like, you know, I deliberately kind of ended conversations sooner, or I engaged and made them much more in depth, and I made them a lot longer. And this sort of this selective process of understanding that for maximum optimization of your time, and your, you know, time is one of the most valuable resources that we have. It is the most valuable resource that we have within life. Is a new takeaway from me, because you should be auditing the energy that is around you at all times, not just auditing your friend circle, not just auditing how successful they are, not just auditing how much wisdom they have to give. Those are all really important things, and those things go hand in hand with how much their energy and how high of a vibration they are. But you should also be auditing the energy like an electrical tester. But I didn't have the electrical tester before this event. And I feel like more and more that I study into this material, and the more that I study into the law of attraction, and the more and more that I tap into the energetic fields of frequencies and vibrations that come from the soul and come from within and come from love and gratitude and all of the things that we experience in utmost highest forms of their concentration this weekend, the more I'm able to fine tune my electrical tester to those that I come in contact with on a daily basis. So for that, so many lessons will blossom from the way that I interact with humans on a daily basis.
Wow, man. That is a gold nugget for everyone. I hope you just really were listening to Bryan when he said that, because that some people only learn that after a lifetime. Seriously, that was fire, bro. I didn't even pick that up. Like, dude, I'm like gonna write that down after this. Seriously. Um, and that was a whole trip experience. And this is going to be my last question before we wrap up here. Out of the information that we learned on activating your leadership energy, what is your favorite part? What are you going to be doing every single day?
Yeah, I think, to echo kind of what you said earlier, activating leadership energy doesn't necessarily pertain just to leadership. And that was the topic of the whole conference. For those that don't know, I don't know if we mentioned that. We may have kind of been passing, but activating leadership energy is not only leading others, but it's leading yourself. Activating leadership energy is leading situations. Activating leadership energy is, making sure you're stepping into those uncomfortable and those unknown situations within your life, no matter how uncomfortable or how unknown they may be, and recognizing that you need to face them head on, no matter how much your feet hurt when you're standing in the sand doing an open-eyed meditation or whatever it may be, and taking action. I mean, taking action is the key principle behind, and not just action like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, or acting upon it, but taking action with intention, and taking action with planning, and really setting and keeping the score of your success, and keeping the score of your progress, I should say, that leads to the success. And that was one of the key takeaways, because, again, synergistically within my life, I keep score through things like Stay Focused Daily for people that have followed me on that journey. But not so much, the way that it was broken down to us this weekend. And I'm not going to go into it because that's a whole nother conversation. And quite frankly, that's kind of hidden information. If you want to know that information, that's within our community, not our community, but within the global information community. But that is the key takeaway for me, is leadership energy is applicable across all areas of life, not just situations where you find yourself leading others, but leading yourself as well, or leading situations. And action taking is the key component of the success to being the optimal version of yourself and the optimal version of the leader within.
Amazing, man. Amazing. And with that, guys, I want to kind of close out by highly, we're not here to promote joining the Global Information Network. However, I do strongly encourage that you give yourself that blessing, give yourself the opportunity to learn how to become a more highly vibrational individual, and learn how you can literally make all your dreams, wishes, and desires come true. Why wouldn't you want to have that for yourself? I mean, it's truly, and it's just, if you feel like you're in a family. I mean, while we were there,
Yeah,
we
if
were
you're ready
encouraged
for it.
everyone. Yeah, yeah. If you're ready to, and we can actually help you be ready for that. If you would like, you just DM me, and I'll kind of like give you some sauce. But seriously. But yeah, man. So Bryan, I don't know if there's any last closing messages you would like to say before we end this, but man,
Yeah.
I'm fired up. This is an awesome show. Like, I'm glad that we have this for ourselves now, so that we always have this like video journal of our trip.
Yeah, this is a very good video journal. As Andrew said, we're not here to tell you guys to join the Global Information Network. We don't get anything if you do join the Global Information Network. In fact, it's something that you definitely need to be ready for, though, and it's something that you need to want, because otherwise you're just wasting your time and your energy, and wasting
money.
time and money. Yeah, it's not free to join, and you're paying for information, but if you're ready, if some of the things that Andrew and I were speaking about this evening, whether it's manifestation that was happening to us, or just the truly magical experiences that were going on, understand and recognize a lot of what made this trip so beautiful and so magical was a direct byproduct of the energy and the frequency that was going on within that convention. Sure, Andrew and I could have gone and visited Puerto Rico and probably had a blast, just because we're two cool dudes and we're business partners and we do a lot of great stuff together. But there was just so many more layers to our trip that we got the blessing to experience, and miracles and magic and manifestation of this universe, and the law of attraction happening hundreds of times, small time, hundreds and hundreds of small little occurrences throughout the entire trip. So like that was truly, and then us being able to integrate it, all day on Monday yesterday, and then all day today, and then with you guys this evening, has truly been a beautiful, amazing ride. I can't wait to reference this video for all the years to come. I want to thank everybody that came out tonight and supported us, because we really do appreciate you guys a lot. And this is a kind of a fun, different episode of the Mi5 show than what you guys were used to. The last couple episodes were featuring guests. We'll be back to that next Tuesday. Hope you guys can join us. And to everybody that's a part of the Mi5 family and the community, we love you so much. If you're not a part of the Mi5 community and family, and you love our vibration and you love what we do, please join our Telegram channel to join the fun. It's 100% free. You can come on in and chat and spread positive love, vibration, and energy with all of us beautiful souls, and help us grow and build our community up this year. There's no catch. We're just trying to build a large community of similar like-minded individuals. Also, feel free to follow us on all of our social platforms at the Mi5 Movement. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we are everywhere that there is social, pretty much TikTok, you name it,
as well.
and YouTube. Yep. So feel free to join us there. And I just want to thank everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. We love you so much. Hope everyone has a blessed and safe Tuesday and has a glorious night's sleep. I sure will. I'm definitely sleep deprived. I know you are too, Andrew.
Oh yeah.
So we got some.
Yeah, guys. Well, hey, I just want to say to everyone, let us know if there's anything that we can ever do to help you. And with that, much love, and grab your umbrellas, because Mi5 is taking 2023 by storm.
Woo!
Have a good night, guys.
Grand ride.